Isometric games are getting more creative than ever, and today we're checking out 11 upcoming titles for 2025 and 2026 that truly stand out. Not just one genre, but the most original, stylish, and unique projects you should keep on your radar. Hell Express kicks off our list in the most chaotic way possible. Imagine a delivery job in the afterlife. That's basically the pitch here. You play as a gun-toting courier crossing a twisted limbo where every shift feels like a mix of cursed terrain, strange relics, and enemies that definitely shouldn't exist. Each run sends you and your team into new locations filled with traps, corrupted creatures, and unpredictable events that can flip everything in seconds. What really sells Hell Express is its tone-dark humor, frantic action, and that constant feeling that the world is actively falling apart around you. The loot system pushes you to take risks, dive deeper, and try to finish deliveries that look more like suicide missions than courier work. Every choice feels like a gamble, and every escape feels earned. With its isometric style, fast-paced co-op design, and bizarre universe, Hell Express looks like one of those games that you pick up just to try and suddenly can't put down. If you like chaotic missions, supernatural themes, and stylish indie action, this is easily one of the most intriguing releases on the horizon. Zero Parades is easily one of the most intriguing narrative games on the way. After the massive impact of Disco Elysium, the studio surprised everyone by revealing a new project, a stylized espionage story set during a Cold War-inspired era. The announcement trailer showed agents moving through smoky rooms, coded messages, suspicious meetings, and tense political pressure rising under every line of dialogue. The vibe is unmistakably theirs: sharp writing, moral dilemmas, conspiracies, and choices that feel heavy. You're pushed into a web of paranoia where every ally might be a double agent, every mission might be a trap, and every decision leaves unseen consequences waiting just ahead. The game promises a world built on secrets, the kind where reading between the lines becomes more important than the lines themselves. But the excitement comes with a bit of worry. The studio has gone through internal conflicts, legal disputes, and creative departures since their last big success. So the big question is, can they pull it off again? Zero Parades looks stylish, ambitious, and full of potential, but it also carries the weight of high expectations. If everything goes right, this could be one of the standout narrative experiences of 2026, bold, mysterious, and unmistakably unique. Titan Quest II brings back one of the most beloved isometric franchises after more than 15 years, and it finally looks ready to claim its place in modern gaming. This time, you return to ancient Greece to face Nemesis, the goddess of vengeance, in a world filled with mythological beasts, ruined temples, and divine conflict shaping every step of your journey. The combat has been rebuilt from the ground up faster, more reactive, and focused on dodging, counterattacks, and reading enemy patterns instead of just spamming skills. Bosses feel massive and dangerous, the kind that force you to stay sharp or get crushed instantly. And for players who always hated picking up piles of useless loot, here's the good news. The developers redesigned the item system to make drops meaningful again, giving real value to each piece you find. What makes Titan Quest II exciting is how it keeps the spirit of the classic while evolving everything around it. Abilities are more flexible, builds matter more, and the world feels richer and more alive than ever. It's nostalgic without being outdated, a modern take on myth-driven action that respects the original fans while welcoming newcomers. If you grew up with isometric adventures or just want a deep, replayable game set in a world of gods and monsters, Titan Quest II looks like one of 2025's biggest highlights. Liminal Point doesn't open with monsters or chaos. It begins with a feeling. That slow, unsettling pressure in your chest that tells you something is wrong, even before you understand why. You play as Lyra, a singer returning to the island where her career and personal life collapsed, pulled back by a mysterious message about her missing band. From the moment she arrives, nothing behaves the way it should. The fog hangs too still, shadows stretch in unnatural ways, and every street feels caught between memory and nightmare. The game leans entirely on atmosphere, quiet tension, distorted reality, and emotional storytelling. It blends trauma, music, and psychological horror in a way that strongly reminds me of Parasite Eve, especially in how personal tragedy bleeds into supernatural events. The island reacts to Lyra almost as if it's alive and echoing her fears. Creatures exist, but sparingly, and that makes every encounter hit harder. Clues contradict each other, making you question what's real and what's imagined. It's the kind of horror that creeps under your skin instead of jumping out at you. If the developers keep this tone and narrative quality, Liminal Point could easily become one of 2026's most memorable psychological horror games. Witchbrook feels like stepping into a cozy, illustrated storybook village that somehow already knows who you are. Instead of battling monsters or saving collapsing worlds, this game focuses on the everyday life of a magic academy, but not in the epic, high fantasy way you might expect. It's gentle, intimate, and full of atmosphere. You attend classes, practice spells, grow your garden, and explore a seaside town filled with charming NPCs who each have their own routines and personalities. Everything is presented through a warm, isometric perspective that makes every street corner feel alive. Lanterns glowing at dusk, students hurrying between lessons, boats drifting by the docks while you try not to miss your next class. As seasons change, the entire town shifts with them. New festivals, weather effects, and events that unfold naturally over time. There's also a strong life sim layer. You can decorate your home, run small shops, grow magical ingredients, craft potions, and even build relationships that develop based on how you interact with people. It's less about quests and more about finding your place in a world that quietly reacts to everything you do. If Stardew Valley captured the magic of simple living, Witchbrook aims to capture the magic of growing up emotionally, socially, and magically in a world that feels warm, alive, and endlessly welcoming. I Hate This Place wastes no time showing how hostile its world is. From the moment Helena enters the cursed wilderness, every sound and shadow feels like a warning. This isn't a game where enemies announce themselves here, they listen. Footsteps, breathing, even grass movement can betray you, and once the creatures lock onto your presence, escaping is often the only smart choice. The hybrid design stands out, blending psychological horror, stealth, and survival into something familiar yet deeply unsettling. You craft tools, set up barriers, and learn to move without alerting the horrors stalking the land. Thick fog hides landmarks. Abandoned cabins hold clues, and the silence breaks only with distant, warped noises you wish you hadn't heard. A strong narrative pull keeps you going. Helena's connection to the place, strange powers awakening, and a world collapsing under its curse. Each new area adds mystery more than answers, making curiosity and fear walk together. If Darkwood or Signalis grabbed you with atmosphere, I Hate This Place delivers that same tension, but with sharper stealth and psychological weight. Tiny hero Courier looks cute at first glance, until you realize this tiny world is barely holding itself together. You play as Rupert, an ordinary courier trapped in a miniature apocalypse where every delivery feels like a life-or-death mission. Streets look like dioramas, come alive, toy-sized buildings, handcrafted props, and enemies that feel both adorable and terrifying. What makes the game stand out is how it mixes action, exploration, and puzzles in a way that never feels predictable. One moment you're sneaking past zombie-like creatures, the next you're using explosive packages to clear blocked paths or solve environmental riddles. Every area is tightly designed, almost like navigating a living model kit where danger hides behind every corner. The charm comes not only from the visuals, but from how much personality each small environment carries. Markets, rooftops, alleys, all filled with tiny details that make the world feel handcrafted and surreal. If you enjoy small-scale worlds with big ideas, something between Tunic's charm and Little Nightmare's tension, Tiny Hero Courier is shaping up to be one of the most surprising isometric releases on the horizon. No Rest for the Wicked hits you right away, with its atmosphere raw, heavy, and brutally grounded. This is Moon Studios' boldest move after Ori, but instead of beauty and serenity, you're thrown into a world tearing itself apart. You arrive on the island of Sacraean, where plague, political collapse, and religious tension turn every step into a desperate fight for survival. What makes the game stand out is how it mixes precision-focused combat with a handcrafted isometric world full of secrets. Battles demand timing, spacing, and reading enemy patterns closer to Souls-like tension than traditional ARPG button mashing. Every weapon feels weighty, every dodge matters, and even basic enemies can crush you if you get careless. Outside combat, the island feels alive. Villages rebuild, NPCs react to your progress, and the economy shifts as you hunt, craft, and reclaim territory. The world keeps evolving, constantly giving reasons to explore just one more area. If you love dark, story-driven worlds and combat that actually pushes you to improve, No Rest for the Wicked is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious isometric adventures of the next few years. Moonlighter 2 wastes no time throwing you back into its perfect loop of danger by night and hustle by day. You arrive in a struggling village, broke and vulnerable, and the only way to rebuild your life is by diving into monster-filled dungeons in search of loot. Every descent is a gamble. You never know if you'll return rich or get wiped out halfway through the run. What makes the sequel shine is how tightly the two halves of the game connect. Fighting through dungeons fuels your shopkeeping, and every coin earned behind the counter turns into better gear, stronger upgrades, and new opportunities for the whole village. It creates a rhythm that's instantly addictive. Explore, fight, escape, sell, upgrade, repeat. The world feels bigger, the enemies hit harder, and the rewards are more meaningful. Even shop management has more depth now, letting you shape the local economy and influence how the town grows around you. If you enjoy isometric action mixed with a cozy but strategic management loop, Moonlighter 2 looks ready to deliver that same magic, only sharper, tougher, and more satisfying than ever. Spark in the Dark throws you straight into a nightmare carved out of stone, torchlight, and pure tension. You descend into ancient catacombs so dark and oppressive that even your own footsteps feel too loud. Every corridor hides something twisted, every shadow seems alive, and every creak forces you to slow down, breathe, and hope nothing is stalking you from the dark. Each descent is completely different. Enemy placements shift, loot changes, and the layout mutates just enough to keep you uncomfortable. Your torch isn't just lighting the way, it's your lifeline. Outside that small circle of light, grotesque creatures lurk, waiting for you to slip or hesitate. Combat is harsh and deliberate, built around timing and fear. A single mistake can cost you your gear, your progress, or your entire run. With multiple classes to experiment with, heavy atmosphere, and exploration that constantly tests your nerves, Spark in the Dark becomes a psychological battle as much as a physical one. Every floor feels like a descent into something older and angrier than you. Surviving long enough to reach the next checkpoint feels like a genuine accomplishment, and escaping alive feels like a story you'd warn someone else about. Eriksholm: The Stolen Dream blends noir, mystery, emotional storytelling, and tight stealth in a way that immediately grabs you. You play as a young orphan searching for her missing brother in a city collapsing under disease, corruption, and harsh police control. Every alley feels dangerous, every corner hides a secret, and the atmosphere constantly pushes you forward. One of the coolest parts is controlling 3 different characters, each with unique abilities that shape how you navigate Eriksholm's dense slums, rooftops, and backstreets. One might slip through guards, another manipulates machinery, and another reaches areas no one else can. Swapping between them becomes key to solving the city's layered challenges. The stealth is slow, deliberate, and tense patrol routes, hiding spots, and distractions really matter. A single mistake can ruin the whole run, forcing you to rethink your approach. Combined with cinematic cutscenes and a graphic novel-style art direction, the world feels alive, dangerous, and heavy. At its core, Eriksholm: The Stolen Dream is about family, survival, and uncovering truths people will do anything to hide. It pulls you deeper with every step. And that's the end of today's lineup. 11 isometric games, some already out and others just around the corner, each one bringing its own style, mood, and personality. Honestly, 2025 and 2026 are shaping up to be incredible years for anyone who loves original, creative experiences. Tell me in the comments which one grabbed your attention the most, or if there's another upcoming game you think deserves a spot in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.